has good technique, he will be elite. If his technique becomes great, not just good, then he's a Hall of Famer. Fighting through contact, fighting through offensive line, being a double team, multiple moves stacked into one, just a play of pure domination. This is actual film, this is actual football talk. It's a football show, we're supposed to talk football, not storylines. And you are listening to another edition of Blewett's Blitz. Today, we are going to get into Michael Carter, the second, some of his film. We'll go into his strengths and weaknesses. I think I have about 25 plays of him. Let me see. We have 23 plays. Okay, so it'll be not relatively short. A lot of these, like the later guys, will be like 23. I think Jonathan Marshall's like 25. Eccles is like 20. And then actually the next show, because I put out the votes, I let everybody vote on the reviews that we're going to do. The next show is on Kenny Yeboah, which is about 25 plays as well. Rashid Jr. coming. We have Isaiah Dunn coming, who I think is going to surprise some people maybe in my evaluation of Isaiah Dunn. And then after that, after we get through the draft class, we have to do, Sheldon Rankins and Tevin Coleman and Keelan Cole and Tyler Croft and Dan Feeney. So we have a lot of stuff coming. I'm recording this on Tuesday, the afternoon after the live stream with myself and Kyle Smith. If you didn't check that out, make sure you check that out. We get into a lot more like talking points, like a lot of other podcasts do, but we try to base it on what we do with this film show. So make sure you check out that. We're going to be doing a live stream with myself and Nania, Saba, and I in probably like a week or two. So make sure to check out that. Appreciate everybody for supporting the channel. Make sure you subscribe. You get the stuff that some of the content that is not free to others. We make sure to give our guys good incentive. Again, it's $5 a month. If you subscribe for a year, if you do it for the monthly, I think it's like $6 a month. So it's a cup of coffee or two for what I think is really good content. So, getting into the Michael Carter film. All right, let's see. Let me pull it up. I watched. Let's see. Let's start with this. 22 years old, 5'10", 190 pounds. 4.30 flat 40. Again, with a lot of these 40 times at pro days, and at least like 0.5 to a second, or not a second, a tenth of a second onto it. Because obviously people are going to try to make their guys look as good as possible. But so I'd say he's probably around a high 3 or 4.3 guy to a low 4.4 guy. Probably a high 3. If I had to guess, he's probably like a 4.38-ish player on film, which is really good. I watched his 2020 Virginia Tech game, Miami game, which he was injured in pretty early, so I don't know if I recorded a lot of plays, and then his game against UNC. So 3 games, really 2 games of him. So we recorded a decent amount of plays from these games. He played both slot and outside for the Blue Devils, but he projects mostly to slot in the NFL. I think he could play a little bit of outside, but I think primarily he's going to be in a slot just because of his size. Okay. So I was trying to figure out where he is. He's in the slot right here. We'll play the play, and then we'll talk about it after. Just showing the willingness in the run game here. Obviously, he shuffles inside, sees the run coming. Good leverage, good knee bend, good base. Takes on the stalk block. Sees the running back cutting to the outside. What does Michael Carter want to do? He wants to get outside in, get outside of this block, force the run back inside where the pursuit's coming from. So he fights to get outside right here. Running back cuts back inside. Quick change of direction. You see the looseness in the hips right there to change with just one step. Completely spin off that, which is imperative to spin that foot, get it off your instep, and use it just like a pivot foot like you would in a route. So you want to turn it, get on the instep and push back inside. He does that. It's a good footwork, good loose hips, finds a tackle or gets in on the tackle. So good job from Michael Carter on that play in terms of the run game. Again, the fan is on behind me. We talked about this in the live stream. It gets a little hot when you have to open the windows in the summer here, because if I don't open the windows, the sound bounces off and it sounds like there's an echo in here, or it kind of is. So you might have to deal with the fan in the summer. So forgive me until I get a nice big JetX wallpaper or something behind me. Carter 2, leverage and square. He is in the slot right here, I believe. Let me see. Yeah. And again, this is where I talk about like getting shuffles in. So there's a difference. And somebody asked it on the last, I think it was Shadow asked on the last, both on the live stream and on the Jason Pinnock review, which I just put up too. Make sure you check that out. That was like a day or two ago by the time you're listening to this, or probably like 2-3 days ago by the time you're listening to this. Especially the line of scrimmage, you want to shuffle over top of a guy, whether he be stemming outside, be stemming inside, because it allows you to play two ways. When you open your hips up right away, one, if the guy cuts the other way, obviously you have to flip your hips. It makes it a lot harder for you to get to that side. And also, when you open your hips, open your gait, or angle off, you're not as strong as you are when you're straight up square with the guy. So it lets the guy take that open shoulder and then hold his line and get into you. So you want to stay square to stay over the top of it, which is literally just getting over top of it, shuffling your feet, not crossing over. You have to be balanced in that shuffle. You don't want to overreact. You don't want to shuffle while you're angling off. Like you do to a certain extent, but ideally you're just shuffling to stay over the top, depending on the release. And we'll talk about it. But obviously also in off coverage, it's very important to stay square. You don't want to open up too early because then you're completely screwed. So we're going to see him here. All about being square. Breaking when he sees the break coming, he anticipates the break. Plays inside to heads up, and this is a play of him trying to cut the route off. And if this guy were to break outside, whether it be an out, a comeback, which wouldn't make a lot of sense right here, or vertical, he trusts himself to get outside, to get vertical with him. Whereas also with the wider splits, the wider hashes of the college level, forcing him outside here is also a harder play for the quarterback, and the ball's in the air a little bit more. So he understands his situation right here. So stay square, sees the receiver gearing down. You can see the shoulders come up. At this point, receivers selling dry phase. Good corner's going to see this. See how his shoulders completely come up, expect a break. He expects a break, matches the upfield shoulder, gets his hands on, looks back to the quarterback. Anticipation of the break, reading the shoulders, playing good leverage inside. All good there. Press rep slot. Okay, good. I labeled it for myself. Press rep slot. Oh, right here. Okay, sorry. Number 3. I didn't see my thing was over him. So I'm gonna watch him right here. Again. So overall, I would definitely say he's good at staying square. One of my issues with his coverage actually sometimes he's a little bit too patient with his feet, which is the opposite of a lot of guys. A lot of guys are too jumpy. He's a little bit too patient at times. So good stance, shoulders over his knees, over his toes. That's good. Might be leaning. He's leaning a little bit forward right there, but outside kick step right there, just maintaining his balance, keeping his weight forward. Again, a lot of guys just naturally move when something's coming at them. So a lot of guys tend to open up or jump split, where they're going to throw their weight back onto their heels and literally split their feet. So coaches teach that kick step. A lot of people think it's a false step, but a lot of people are taught that, and it's called a kick step. So kick steps, maintains his balance. Square. Receiver is inside of him, so he has a little bit of flexibility to open his inside hip, cut because of the receiver having to work past his leverage, which would now allow him to flip his hips. So if he's inside of you, you have a little bit more flexibility to open up inside, as long as you're on the same relative plane in terms of your vertical relationship to the receiver, because again, you can throw your hand and flip. So he cheats a little bit inside. Again, based on his leverage, it's okay in this situation. Gets his hand on, flips his hips, uses his left hand almost as like that pivot point to drag himself outside on him. Completely matches the route. So All good right there in terms of patient feet. Good understanding of the leverage again. Runs his feet a little bit. Kick step, not jump split. Good weight distribution. Good leverage. All good. Okay. Speed, good play on mesh. Okay, I really like this play. This is smarts. Just I'm gonna talk about it after. He's right here. Coverage on the slot. Let's watch. Okay. So what do we see? They run this pick natural rub from the boundary slot, and it's meant to pick Michael Carter, the second. And what he's taught to do right here, you either can do two things. You don't want to be indecisive though. You want to decide pretty quickly. It's a little bit harder from off coverage to do the first thing I'm going to say. When you're in press, when guys are running across the middle on drags in your man coverage, you want to jet stream them, which is basically just like a NASCAR, get on the ass of that receiver. So you're avoiding any picks, because meshes, a lot of these concepts of rub routes, obviously it's meant to pick one of these players. Mesh, it's either one of the players pick themselves or one of the players picks the defender, whatever, depending on the play. But it's meant to pick them, whether it be, again, through that offensive player or the defensive player. So you want to get right on his ass, because they're not going to pick the wide receiver. So you want to get right on their ass, and that's what you're taught to do. When you're in off coverage, it's going to be a little bit harder to get obviously directly behind him, unless you completely see the break coming, you see the play coming. Like, that's almost impossible, especially from off coverage, like I said. So now you have to freaking turn on your speed and make sure to avoid traffic, because when you're playing from off, it's a lot harder to play that jet stream. And now you're in a position where the defense kind of wants, or the offense kind of wants you. So you have to sift through traffic and make sure you don't run into anybody else. So he does a great job, one, knowing he can't jet stream. Two, we're going to talk about the smarts and awareness I kind of just talked about. And then three, just watch the speed and the athleticism, like the looseness of the hips to get around some of these guys. I kind of dodge them in traffic while still running full speed. Again, like, okay, one, he takes his angle upfield a little bit right here, or whatever, backwards from the 49 to the 50 to the 51. But this step right here, one, this is like a running back cut. It's literally a running back cut. Plant off your instep, open your toe to allow your hips to open and get underneath of this. This step to avoid the number one right here is absurd. Right there. Boom. Absurd footwork. Footwork and speed right there that's probably the best player you're going to see from him in terms of athleticism. This shows all of his athleticism you need to see, from speed and loose hips and things like that. Acceleration, gets right back on the route. Hell of a play. That is really, really good. Again, stupid crap that you probably haven't seen that play anywhere else, I'm going to assume. That's really, really one of the most important plays I'll probably show the entire clip, or this entire show. Play on Sluggo. Okay, he's right here in the slot. Another off coverage situation. Again, it's good. It's really good. Off coverage, again, patient with his feet. He's creeping backwards, which again is that you're not in a full blown back pedal. He's not completely getting into a back pedal. It's a nice slow pace, creeping backwards. Sees the break inside, breaks to the upfield shoulder. Again, a lot of guys would take an angle that's too aggressive, too flat over the top. But on when you're in off coverage and you're playing any route, really, you want to play to that upfield shoulder. Why do you want to play to the upfield shoulder? One, it's a good position to be in, to wrap your hand to play the ball when the ball gets there. Also, what it does is it protects yourself against double moves, because if he's cutting inside and you play too flat over the top, he can get underneath you for the double. If you try to play too far to his ass, maybe he just takes it more inside and then gets around you that way. When you play it to the shoulder, where is he going to cut to? He's going to cut to that shoulder. He's going to cut up and through it. So you want to play that near shoulder because now he's running right into you. So that's what you're taught to do in off coverage. When you're playing a route, play it to that near shoulder. He plays it to the near shoulder. Sees the break coming. Again, quick drop of the hips. You see how athletic he is right here again? Look how low he is. we talk about a lot of receiver breaks, and you see it on the show. We talk about you want the receiver to be over his toes. You want him to be completely almost bent over to make a break. That's as good as it gets. You literally want to knee yourself in the chin. He's literally kneeing himself in the chin. He is so freaking low and condensed on this break. It is fantastic. Fantastic in terms of getting back outside. So athleticism, footwork, getting over his toes to break, a little bit of an oh shit moment like you're going to have on any Sluggo route, but he plays the shoulder properly, breaks out of it quick, and he gets back on the route. Completely shuts that down. That is, again, really, really good. So we're starting off with really good plays with Carter. I'm a fan. It's going to be a really interesting battle between him and Guidry in the slot. And then even, past the corners, an interesting battle to see if they feel it's more effective for Michael Carter to be on the field versus maybe an Ashton Davis or a LaMarcus Joyner who comes in a big nickel situation. So how are they going to play it? We'll see. Michael Carter, he may be in a situation where he might have to play a little bit outside. Like, would you rather have, like, obviously a lot has to happen, but like Michael Carter versus Lamar Jackson versus Bless Austin versus Pinnock versus, Eccles for that starting outside job. Like maybe on base, you have Michael Carter flex outside sometimes. I think he's strong enough to do it. I think he's good technically enough to do it. You don't want him against 6'4" receivers and things like that. But it's going to be interesting to see how he slots in. But early on, I know he's been pressed in Jets camp, and early on, or not early on, but through this review, I was impressed with him. Obviously, there's weaknesses. He's a 5th round pick, 5th, 6th, but I'm impressed with him. I like him. So off man right here. Again, good hands. This is a good hand play. So patient. Again, he's cheating a little bit inside with his leverage. And again, very similar situation to what I said before. Inside leverage, you could cheat a little bit with your hips as long as you have the athleticism and flipping it inside. Also, opposite hash, harder throw from the outside. So you want to cheat inside and make them go outside right here. Depending, let's see real quick. Unless it's a zone look where you have guys help inside, then you want to cheat. But a lot of these guys, it's either a blitz or they all get sucked up in the zone, whatever. So I do want to preface it by saying, man situation with no help inside, force them outside in this situation. If it was in a situation where it was more zone or you had zone help inside, whether it be like, well, not a bracket or a conch, that's different. But, you had a rat player, a hole player, a safety, whatever it may be, then maybe you force them inside. But I'm fine with the outside in here or the inside out. Patient with his hips again. You see with all those corners, we saw it with someone like Hamza or whoever, like really look how patient he is with his feet. Sometimes almost too patient. Like even here, you probably want to see him shuffle, get over the top right there and not open up because some guys might be able to get to or beat him in that corner route in the NFL. But I'm pretty happy with the patience, strike timing with the left hand. And what that does is now it just slows down the receiver. It both slows down the receiver, and now that your momentum, he's kind of working you vertical, so you're absorbing that momentum, and it's getting you on the run quicker. So it both accelerates you vertically here for Carter, and it also slows down the receiver. You could see how that affects him here. To say that punch down affect him, you're mistaken. So it slows him down. Boom, grab the hips, play him. And look, eyes are on him, eyes are on him, eyes are on him. As he turns now with hands on, now his eyes go back. Good. Another good play. Watch it again after I explain all that. Okay. Play number 7. Trap needs to play ball. Okay. Okay, yeah. So they run this like palms or trap where basically, and just to be really simple, I'm not going to get into every single situation that can happen. If this 2 cuts outside where he bubbles, this 1 is going to jump it, and then he has to get over top of the 1. If we'll go over to all the other rules at a different time. He runs vertical, he takes them, he takes the 1. If he cuts inside, then they would double him, whether it be a palms or 2 trap. I'm not necessarily sure because it happens and they play it the same way. We'd see the difference if they, if there's a different route combination. But he jumps and he gets to get over top of the 1. Gets over top of the one. Little bit of hesitation. You could see him kind of cheat inside and fall for just the look to the slot. Gets over top of the one. Some of his ball skills at times, like deep, I didn't see it enough to say it's a complete weakness. Like I think I might have listed it, but I didn't see it a lot to be completely transparent. But he gets beat right here. Again, this is just like a timing feel thing. Receiver's looking back for the ball for a while. He goes to play through him, which I like, because he's not hip to hip and he hasn't squeezed him completely off to the sideline or choked him off to the sideline. So I would like him to just be a little more patient right here, to be honest, not play the ball. I said that initially. I like to see him just keep his eyes there, just stack the receiver, just get over top of him, stack the receiver, and then play it through that way. Because once he's looking back for the ball a lot, it's really risky for him to be playing through the receiver and then look back to the ball, because that second, that quarter of a second, millisecond, whatever it is, that you take to turn around and try to locate the ball. One, you have to trust your eyes that you're going to have to go high to low and find that ball quickly, because the ball should already be there relatively shortly based on the receiver's body language and him looking back to the ball. This is like a peak technique. So it's just a timing thing and a feel thing where I don't want to see him necessarily go to play through the ball right here. I just want to see him continue to get on top of that receiver and play the ball that way, play the hands. So just a little feel thing right there for Carter, but he did get beat deep on that play. Play slant, eyes, ball skills. Okay. Oh. Okay. So we might have a little bit of like a buck sweep action. Looks like a buck sweep. So, and we'll get to that eventually too. If the Jets ever run, like, there's a little bit of differences between like, it's so minuscule. It's funny too. The difference between like pin pull and C-gap power. We have like dart runs. We have buck sweep. We have G lead. There's a lot of different runs. Now, let me see this. What's the tackle? This looks so. This isn't a buck sweep, because a buck sweep you're gonna have the two guards. If this is a buck sweep, he would pull two. In a buck sweep situation, just getting into the woods a little bit. If this three tackle was like a 2-eye, this guy could have what's called like a with me call, where he doesn't want to pull because the center is asked to block back to this defender. So he doesn't want this guy to penetrate as he pulls. Or sorry, if the guy was here, he would want him to penetrate because it's a clear shot to the running back if he's athletic enough. So a lot of buck sweeps, they'll have that guard, the play side guard, have a with me call. But typically, like he would pull, what's called like a question mark pull, and then he wraps to the backside backer. So he would pull to the backside backer. He would pull on what's called a question mark pull, which basically he's reading the tight end. If the tight end has outside, or if the tight end kicks this guy out, the tight end's reading the D end. I'm just talking about buck sweep. This isn't even a buck sweep. I'm going to the woods. I don't necessarily know why, but we're in it, so let's do it. He does a question mark pull where outside leverage, he kicks him outside. If he slants inside, he pins him inside, and then he pulls outside of it. So he reads this block. So he'll pull either inside or outside based on that, and then he just wraps the backer. He's going to try to block him. That's not what's happening here, though. It's more of just like, looks like a C, it's like another C-gap power, or like a one-back power, but it looks like they may be question mark reading or pulling, which question mark pull, again, you're just reading the tight end and see if he has outside or inside leverage. Looks to have outside leverage on him, so he's going to pull around. That's what it looks like to me, but it's an RPO. So you have like a C-back power with a question read on this, and then the RPO part of it, which is with this receiver. The receiver goes to block him to lull him to sleep. Maybe he gives up on the play, whatever it may be. Maybe he's not a physical player. You see a ton of corners just give up on a play and they know they're being blocked and the run's going away. And it almost